Imagine walking into Whole Foods and seeing this. Empty shelves. No bananas, no milk, no receipts, and no idea when anything's coming back, not because of a storm, not because of a labor strike, but because someone, somewhere, pressed Enter on a keyboard. This isn't a food shortage, this is a digital crisis. And it all started when United Natural Foods, America's largest food distributor, went dark. Let's unpack the cyber attack that brought America's organic food supply to a screeching halt. The night the orders died. May 18, 2025, 3:12 a.m. Inside the distribution nerve center of United Natural Foods, an automated system quietly sends out a ping. Routine, normal. Just one more transaction in a sea of millions, part of the digital ballet that keeps over 30,000 retail locations, including Whole Foods Market, stocked and synchronized. But tonight, something's not right. A few orders don't go through. The system retries. No luck. Then a warehouse in Colorado reports its inbound routing software has frozen completely. That's when the flickering starts. Tiny glitches on the enterprise resource planning dashboard that only the trained eye might notice. The network team logs in to investigate. What they see is chilling. A sudden, massive spike in outbound data. Gigabytes streaming out, headed for unknown IP addresses scattered across the globe. By 3:29 a.m., there's no doubt. This isn't just a glitch. It's a full-scale cyber attack. By 4 a.m., 3 major distribution centers are effectively blind, locked out of their systems. The food is still there, sitting on shelves and pallets, but the digital scaffolding that supports it, the maps, the manifests, the optimized delivery routes, the timestamps that make just-in-time logistics possible, has disappeared. No fires, no explosions, just silence where there should be orders. And a creeping realization: the most vital supply chains in America don't need to be bombed to be broken. They just need to be forgotten by their systems. United Natural Food, the invisible giant. To understand the gravity of what just happened, you first have to understand who this giant is and how deeply embedded they are in the way America eats. You probably haven't heard their name in a TV ad. They're not a consumer-facing brand. But behind the scenes, they're everywhere. If you've ever picked up groceries from Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh, Sprouts Farmers Market, your neighborhood co-op, or even that small, independent natural foods store on the corner, then you've bought something that passed through United Natural Foods' hands. They distribute to more than 50,000 locations across the US and Canada. They move nearly 1 billion cases of food every year, everything from kombucha to kale chips to organic pet food. And they don't just drop off boxes. They power one of the most sophisticated, efficient, just-in-time supply chains in North American retail. They track expiration dates, optimize routes for perishables, sync with store-level inventory systems, and coordinate across hundreds of distribution centers. Think of them as the circulatory system for the natural and organic food world, constantly pulsing, constantly moving, unseen but essential. So, when that system flatlined in the early hours of May 18, 2025, it wasn't just a tech failure, it was a systemic shock. Within hours, store shelves from Oregon to New Jersey were missing key items. Refrigerated trucks sat idle. Managers scrambled to locate shipments that, digitally speaking, no longer existed. The invisible giant had stumbled, and the whole ecosystem felt it. When the systems go dark. By 6 a.m., the alarms weren't just digital, they were human. Store managers at Whole Foods in Boston, Miami, and Chicago were already calling in the same escalating issue. No fresh truck deliveries, no access to internal ordering dashboards, and POS terminals are running in offline mode. Out-of-stock notices are piling up by the minute. At first, it felt like a glitch, maybe a routine outage. But as the sun rose, the problem deepened. No updates, no troubleshooting guides, no incoming inventory. By noon, the internal Slack channels, normally buzzing with thousands of daily messages, went dark. Communications shut down. Silence across the digital backbone of one of North America's most critical food suppliers. At 2 p.m., a message finally came, but not the one grocers wanted. A short, urgent memo from business executives. United Natural Food has experienced a critical IT security event. All systems are currently under containment protocols. Translation, distribution, halted, invoices, frozen, orders, paused, backups, still syncing. For grocery operators, this was DEFCON 1. The logistical safety nets they relied on, gone. By dinner time, the average shopper was feeling it. Empty produce bins where greens should be. Fridge cases are half-stocked. Store staff are scrambling to answer questions. The attack vector. So, what happened? How did one of North America's largest food distributors get brought to its knees overnight? Initial forensic analysis pointed to a ransomware attack, highly targeted, devastatingly effective. The breach didn't come through the front door. It crept in through a side window, a vulnerability in United Natural Foods' cloud-based warehouse management system, specifically a legacy module that is still in use at 2 key distribution centers. A forgotten corner of the code base, one that hadn't seen a security patch in over 14 months. That's where the attackers got in. Once inside, they moved fast, gained remote access, escalated privileges to the administrator level, and silently disabled system logs. Then it began deploying file encrypting ransomware across warehouse terminals and central planning servers. It was surgical, deliberate, and worst of all, timed for maximum damage. Early Saturday morning, when IT staff coverage was thin and most execs were offline. By the time network monitors picked up the data exfiltration and system errors, it was already too late. Key systems had been encrypted, access denied. Everything, from inventory schedules to vendor payments, was digitally frozen. Then came the message, a simple text note left on the locked servers. You have 7 days. Pay $7.5 million in Bitcoin, or we sell and possibly alter the entire order history of 30,000 retail locations. This wasn't just theft. It was extortion at the supply chain level, and the clock had already started ticking. The supply chain halts. United Natural Foods' supply chain is a marvel of modern logistics when it works. Real-time ordering, predictive analytics, optimized routing for perishable goods. It's a delicate symphony of timing, automation, and data precision. But that precision is also its greatest vulnerability. When the ransomware attack encrypted the back-end databases, it didn't just take down a few screens. It shattered the entire operational rhythm. Routes vanished, orders evaporated. Inventory data became unreadable. Packing lists couldn't be printed. Perishable items such as yogurt, berries, and fresh meats sat idle in loading bays as timers ticked toward spoilage. An executive, speaking anonymously, put it bluntly. Imagine trying to run Amazon, blindfolded, deaf, and with a phone that only dials 911. By day 2, the chaos deepened. Truck drivers refused to get behind the wheel without confirmed manifests, fearing wasted hours or rejected deliveries. Warehouse managers, unable to verify the freshness of goods, began shutting down refrigeration systems to prevent contaminated stock from being distributed, and the ripple effects extended far beyond the firm's network. Independent grocers, many of them family-run, operating on razor-thin margins, started calling competitors and alternate distributors in desperation, hoping to secure emergency shipments of milk, produce, and baby formula. What had begun as a silent digital breach had now morphed into a full-scale logistical jam. Not just a supply chain hiccup, a national food distribution standstill. And with every passing hour, shelves grew barer, tempers shorter, and the cost of inaction higher. Who did it? The group claiming responsibility. A relatively new ransomware syndicate, known as SilverRat. Cybersecurity experts say they specialize in industrial logistics targets, cloud-based warehouse platforms, and ERP injection attacks. SilverRat posted a sample of the stolen files on the dark web, internal comms, delivery reports, payment data, as well as retailer account credentials. They offered proof of breach and warned that unless paid, they would begin selling order data to competitors, altering product batch numbers, and maybe worst of all, leaking employee tax records. United Natural Food never confirmed whether it negotiated. But one thing is clear: no new data was posted, and SilverRat, well, disappeared. Which raises the question, was the ransom paid, or did the attackers achieve what they wanted some other way? The grocery freeze. As the cyber chaos raged inside the company, the American public experienced something unusual: grocery freeze. For 5 days, shelves at Whole Foods went half-stocked, bulk orders were missing, delivery services suspended next-day guarantees, and regional co-ops posted handwritten signs. Due to distributor issues, product availability may vary. In Portland, parents lined up at 7 a.m. hoping to find formula. In Minneapolis, grocers trucked in produce from secondary vendors. In New York, meal kit companies paused subscriptions. Meanwhile, on Reddit and TikTok, hashtags like UNFI down and grocery gridlock went viral. The phrase grocery outage entered mainstream headlines. The aftermath: a full system recovery took 11 days. During that time, they manually restored key warehouse systems, switched to pen and paper inventory management, and retrained hundreds of staff on offline mode protocols. What's the impact, you ask? Let's review loss estimates. $80 to $100 million in revenue. Over 15,000 missed deliveries. Thousands of lost labor hours. And damage to brand trust that may take years or decades to rebuild. But perhaps the most telling sign: major clients, including Whole Foods, publicly reviewed their supply contracts. Sources say Amazon is now investigating alternate or hybrid distribution models, because in the world of groceries, trust is everything. And in May 2025, that trust cracked. How it could have been prevented. Cybersecurity auditors later published a damaging report. Key findings: United Natural Foods' patch management schedule was inconsistent. Legacy warehouse software hadn't been updated. Network segmentation was weak, allowing the spread between regions. And detection tools failed to flag lateral movements. In short, the attackers walked in through the back door, and no one was watching. Let's explore what could have helped. To start, implementing Zero Trust architecture, real-time anomaly detection systems, threat hunting for ransomware signatures, and better employee training. Instead, the business was modern on the surface, but underneath, cracks in the code. The future of food is fragile. This wasn't just a wake-up call. It was a digital gut punch. Because food supply isn't just farms and trucks anymore. It's cloud servers, planning software, and integrated dashboards. When those fail, the food doesn't move. That's the terrifying truth of 2025. Our lettuce is smarter. Our coffee is traceable. Our grocery chains are algorithmic. But that means a single line of code can stop it all. We've built a food system that's efficient, lean, connected, and deeply vulnerable. United Natural Food was the test case. The others are watching. If you thought grocery gridlock was terrifying, wait until you see what happens when a state's military network is left wide open. In July 2025, a mysterious breach exposes terabytes of classified documents from an American state defense force, internal comms, emergency response plans, and personnel data, all dumped. The culprit, a group calling themselves Salt Typhoon. Next episode, Salt Typhoon's Guarded Secrets, when a state militia's networks lay bare. Because when cyber war reaches the armories, you know we've crossed the line. The future isn't just online. It's already here, and it's one vulnerability away from collapse. Food, health, schools, power. These aren't isolated incidents, they're signals. Like this video and subscribe for the next episode. Remember, in 2025, code is infrastructure, and when it breaks, everything else breaks with it. Catch you next time on True Hacker Chronicles.